Hello. Hello, Alan.
Hi Debbie. So I'm a bit early. I'm a bit off camera at the moment. I'm in the UK, so just finishing up dinner.
Oh, you're grand. Thank you so much for joining in the late hours. Enjoy,
Oh, that's all good.
enjoy your
What,
dinner.
what, whereabouts are you based?
Santa Barbara, California.
Oh, nice.
Yes.
I can detect from your accent that, well, maybe you were, but maybe you weren't. But were you always from California, or did you?
God, I hope not. I hope you can de detect the Irish accent front and center.
Nice.
Yes, I hung on to the accent, Alan. As you can imagine, in sales for 15 years, it helps.
So you've been in the US for 15
Tw-
years.
20 years this
Oh,
month.
wow.
Isn't that wild?
Congrats. That's 2 decades.
I know. It's literally half my life at home, half my life here, which is crazy to me. I'm just like, how the hell did that happen? You suddenly kind of wake up one day and you're like, how did I get here? But here I am, nonetheless.
Wow, no, that's good. Quite inspiring. I've been sort of seeing some of your posts that thank you you've been sharing that. Yeah, I joined for a couple of reasons. You might be quite curious. One, very interested in what you do. I sort of have an interest in that space in the sense that
Mhm.
I've been well, currently still am a sales leader myself, but thinking about things a bit more from a deeper perspective. That there's probably more to life than just chasing a number.
I
So.
know. There is, and everybody's got their own reason behind it. I mean, I'll get into it obviously, but for me, sales is kind of like a young person's game as well. Like you have all the energy in your 20s and then you're just like, Jesus Christ, as you get older, it's a lot. It's a grind, and it wears on you.
It does, and it's a grind in more ways than one, I guess. But everyone has their own interpretation of the grind.
Yeah, we've all got our own demons, but you'd be surprised
Yeah.
when you talk to the right people how we like a certain group of people just get it because when you do a certain type of sale and a certain role and a certain type of company, like you find your people, and that's who I'm hoping shows up today.
No, I mean, sorry, I've kind of like got into one-to-one mode, but I realize this is your masterclass, so don't let me distract
Oh,
you
you're
from
not. We're just waiting
getting
for
prepped.
people to pop on. I see Andrea's here. Hi, welcome, welcome. We'll just give it a few minutes. Always the awkward tension of will people pop on? Anya, hello, how are you? Another Irish woman. Solidarity.
Hi,
Hi, thanks for joining so late. I'm assuming you're in Ireland, in Dublin or somewhere, are you?
I'm at a yoga retreat in Portugal.
Oh, Jesus. Amazing. Wow, well, extra thank you to you for stepping out of that and
A pleasure.
joining. Hi, Shannon, how are you? Just give it another.
Well, very happy to be here.
Oh, thanks for joining. Thanks for joining. We'll just give it a minute. I'll give
Did
it.
I hear Portugal retreat? Is that what I heard?
Yeah, sounds like Anya's there.
That sounds
That's
lovely.
me.
That sounds lovely.
It
Tell me
is.
more.
It's just a lot of relaxing and yoga and beach and sun. Yeah, highly recommend.
My
Perfect.
sister did that actually, and my sister did a yoga retreat in Portugal. She absolutely loved it. I don't know if this might be the same one, might not, but loved it. Nice weather as well. Can't hurt. Got a few more people popping in. Colin, hi. How are you? On someone I know from the past. Hello,
Hey,
stranger.
Debbie.
How are you?
Good to see you.
Good to see you. Good to see you. We'll give it one more minute, guys, and we'll get started.
Okay.
Get
My
started.
sound on here?
You're good? Yeah, I hear you. Got to make sure I'm a one-woman show today, so I want to make sure I keep an eye on the time.
Love it. Good
I-
luck.
Yeah. Oh, speaking of which, I'm going to record this while oh, it is recording. Look at me, I did it. While everybody's still jumping on. Hi, Mallory, how are you? Where's everybody dialing in from today, actually? I mean, I know I was talking to um Alan and Anya, but where's everybody else dialing in from? You can chat. Put in the little chat function. Where is it? There it is. Sacramento, another California gal. I think Alan said he's in the UK. Beverly. Very nice. Hi, Joe. How are you? I was just asking everybody where they're all dialing in from. We have somebody from in Portugal on a yoga retreat in the UK. So nice. Hi, Susie. Vancouver. Lovely, lovely. All right. Well, we are 2 minutes in, and I want to be mindful of everybody's time. So I'm going to just get started. So, hi, I am so glad you're all here. Thank you for giving me the hour. I know you could all be like answering emails or, half watching a forecast review or quite literally doing anything else. So, genuinely, thank you for choosing this instead. Um, okay, so I want to jump straight in, and from the start, I want to let you know that this is set up as a chat because the last thing I want to do is shove a bunch of slides in your face and make you feel like this is work and a slow death by PowerPoint. So feel free to eat lunch if it's that time in your part of the world, or I just want it to be very relaxed and just see this as a chat for the next hour. So use the chat function if you like. Wave frantically if I don't see you. As I said, I'm running this ship solo today. So yeah, okay. So I think I'll start off with kind of the name of the game here. I used to make 350 grand a year and I felt like a complete fraud. I mean, you gotta love those stock grants and the commission checks and the bonuses, right? I mean, I can't lie, those hitting my bank account every quarter was pretty nice. And it also felt like kind of like the equivalent of adding beautiful diamonds onto my golden handcuffs, Very much chained, but pretty nonetheless. And as well, can I just take a moment actually to just acknowledge how deeply awkward it is to talk about money still? And I don't know why it feels that way. Like, is it just me that feels this way? Does anybody else feel awkward talking about money? Like, yeah, it's so weird. Like, even now, saying that number out loud makes me want to like melt off the chair a little bit and immediately follow it. Like, I swear I donate to charity, guys. I'm not a bitch, I swear. There's something about talking about money that makes you feel like weirdly exposed. Like someone's going to say, "Oh, you made how much? Why are you complaining?" It's ridiculous, but like it's really real. I don't know if anybody else feels the same, and the reason I say it is it's not to brag or to shock you. It's just to kind of show you that you can have all the stuff, the salary and the title and the leadership role, and still feel like completely disconnected from yourself. Like I had all of it. I had the LinkedIn version of success and I was profoundly unhappy. Now, before we go any deeper into that, I want to make sure that I've got my people, the right people in the room. So I want you to kind of think of this as like a slightly unhinged roll call, if you will. You don't have to say anything if you don't want to, but feel free to type present or something in the chat if something here hits a nerve for you or kind of sounds like you. So if any of the following describes you, you are in the right place. So you are probably in tech in some kind of sales leadership role and you're making really good money, like the kind of money that should make you feel proud, but mostly feel makes you feel like a little bit trapped. You're a strong profession, you've got a strong professional identity and people respect you and you've worked hard to get where you are and you've been probably doing this for 10 or 15 years, maybe a bit more. But lately you catch yourself thinking, why does this feel a bit flat? Or how the hell did I end up here? Or is this what I'm doing for the next 10 fucking years of my life? Maybe more. Or, I mean, for me, it was like if I have to sit through one more, let's talk pipeline meetings, I might actually burst into flames. So there's a lot of that. Or you might just be bored, like mind-numbingly bored, but you're also too busy with life and keeping up appearances and burnt out to think about what else you'd even do or what that even means. Or maybe you are living with that little voice in your head, the one that sounds like a mean little gremlin with a headset, whispering stuff like, everybody else knows what they're doing and you don't, and you're going to get caught out, and you don't even know what the next product update looks like. Or for me, it was always like the head of engineering thinks you're an absolute idiot because you don't speak fluent API. And I'm just like, I don't know what I'm doing. Or maybe you're not panicking, you're just like numb. Numb to the work, numb to the meetings, numb to the fact that you actually don't give a shit about the new initiative that your boss is so excited about. Or maybe you've been floating through your job for a while now. You keep showing up, performing, but something just feels, off. You might feel like a little bit low. Not full blown depressed, but not okay either. You might be spending an entire workday toggling between Slack and LinkedIn in your inbox and pretending your head's down. That was mine. You might feel like you're smiling and chatting at work, but you haven't felt like yourself in a really long time. Or like if someone asked you how you're doing, you'd be like, I'm great. And you mean absolutely none of it. Like you're like, I'm not fucking great, but you say it. And this is my personal section, but you might also be overeating, overthinking, doom scrolling, snapping the absolute head off your partner over stupid shit and then feeling terrible, looking at your kids if you have them and thinking, I love you so much, but I quite literally have nothing left in the tank for you. Like all of that. All of the above, Joe. Yeah, yeah, you get me. The chat's going off. Okay. Yes, yes, yes. So if any of that made your stomach drop a little bit, hi, you were in the right place, my friends. And if a lot of that landed, scooch on in because for me, I was some of that, all of that, one of that, like literally all of them hit a nerve, you know? And it still is me some days. And I built this whole thing for you, for me, for people like us who struggled, struggling, all of that stuff with this. And I purposefully and intentionally listed out all the different ways this shit manifests because it is really, really hard to articulate it and explain it if you haven't lived it. Because it's not just one thing. It's everything I just said. And it's this weird mix of everything looks good on paper, but I feel like I'm quietly going insane. And it's one of the loneliest, most disoriating places to be. And nobody talks about it until today. Here I am. Right. So now that I've like casually peered into your soul, you're probably thinking, okay, lady, what's this actually about? So I want to be really clear up front that this is not a motivational speech. God, I hope it doesn't sound like a motivational speech. It is not 5 easy steps to fix your life by Friday. And it is not, most certainly not, burn it all down to the ground, quit your job, go find your joy. And it's definitely not me sitting here pretending I have my shit all together because I don't. And half the time I'm still on the hot mess express. Like, seriously. I don't want this to feel like, those motivational Peloton rides. I want it to feel like you're sitting with someone who gets it. Like someone finally said out loud all the stuff that's been quietly, roaming around your head for months or years, if you're like me. So, as I said, the main goal today is that this feels like a real chat. I want you to feel less alone in that weird limbo between I'm successful and I'm quietly losing my goddamn mind. And I want to leave you with a few tools, like nothing wild, just something to take the edge off, like a little less panic, a little more breathing room. And I want to let you know that you don't need to like quit, as I said. You don't need to do like the most extreme to feel better. We're trying to de-stress here. De-stress, not add to it. I want Anya to enjoy her yoga retreat and not come home more stressed. So if something hits, please do use the chat. If I miss it, wave it. This, as I said, is a solo act. I have no co-host, no slides, just me, my notes, and a beverage that I will likely spill on myself at some point. So let's roll with it. Okay. So who the hell am I? Some of you might know me from LinkedIn. Some of you know me in real life. Maybe you've seen some of my posts or followed along for a while, or maybe you kind of stumbled in here by accident and you're like, what the hell is this? Either way, I do think a bit of a backstory helps. I'm Debbie. I was born and raised in County Kerry, Ireland, southwest of the country, and I live in Santa Barbara now, California, for the last 20 years. I am a recovering overachiever, oversharer, people pleaser. I mean, insert everything here. I am that. I talk fast, I swear a lot, I have the self-deprecating humor of someone who grew up Catholic and in a pub. Both excellent training grounds for becoming a professional oversharer, by the way. And what else? I am deeply allergic to anything that feels polished or performative. I'm more of a like raw voice note at 11 p.m. kind of gal than a polished keynote speaker at a conference. So that's what you get with me. I have 3 small kids with zero fucking chill. I am perpetually exhausted. I have a strong aversion to fake it till you make it culture, which is funny because I spent the last 15 years of my career doing exactly that. Um, and for over 15 years, I worked in tech, startups mostly, and I rounded it off with a VP title in a fancy acquisition into corporate America. And it sounded great on paper. look great on LinkedIn, $4 billion acquisition, stock, champagne flowing. It looked great. And I mean, look, some of it was great, right? Those were the fun bits. So yeah, those were the fun bits. It wasn't all doom and gloom, but it was only like, the perks that made it like fun for a few hours. So yeah, fancy title, lots of meetings, a Slack thread for every single thought anyone's ever had in their life. I had like the team, I had the inbox, the Slack messages, the hey Debbie, quick question pings at 7 a.m. I had people looking up to me, I had people coming to me for answers I didn't have. And eventually, I also had an overwhelming feeling of, I just don't care about any of this anymore. And I felt so, so guilty about it. Guilty for being paid so much. Guilty that I couldn't bring myself to give a shit. And guilty because I was surrounded by people working so hard and I felt like I was just faking it. And all I could think was like, what the fuck is wrong with me? Meanwhile, I'm watching people on my team hustle their asses off deep in product strategy and call reviews. And I'm like, I wonder what I could eat right now that would make me feel something. So it was bleak, to say the least. Um, but if someone asked me back then, chocolate, Susie, yes, a lot of chocolate, dairy milk. But if someone asked me back then, if I was good at my job, I would have made some awkward joke and deflected because, oh my God, a compliment, no thank you. Mainly because I felt like such a faker in there with zero skills and pretending to be someone that I'm not. But what I didn't understand at the time was that, yes, I had been faking some things, and we all fake some things, it's not the end of the world. But I had also built a whole career on skills I didn't know were actually skills. I was the person that people came to with like the messy stuff. Like I could read a room, I could unravel tension, I could spot someone spiraling before they even open their mouth. It should have been blatantly obvious that I was meant to coach people, but I brushed it off like every time someone said it. Why though? Because I didn't even know it was a thing, but that's neither here nor there. But mostly because my identity was so tightly wound around being a tech leader that I just couldn't imagine anything else. Like I worked in tech, I managed people, I made great money, and I got a commission check every quarter. Like that was me, that was my safe space, that was my box. And I was very comfortable in knowing that. I was like clinging to that identity for dear life, especially when people back home, like, she's my poor mother, she'd be saying things like, our Debbie's a VP in California. Ugh. And I would just nod and smile, and I'd be thinking, if only you fucking knew I was hanging on by a thread, mom. What is it about like mothers? I mean, I'm 40 years of age and I still don't want my mom to know I'm like struggling. Because when you feel like you're faking it, like there is this constant low key fear that someone is going to sniff it out at any given minute? Now, while we don't have time for a full-on childhood trauma tour, this is actually an important part to my story and probably your story too, that you may not even be aware of, your own version. So here's a short version that I finally uncovered in the last few years. So I am one of six kids, Irish Catholic, and spent most of my life convinced I was stupid, like factually, undeniably stupid. And it started pretty early because someone called me Dumb Deb when I was about 8 or 9. And I just decided in my little brain that that was true. And when a teacher, and I remember her name and everything, Miss McKenna, and German, double German on a Wednesday morning. I even remember the number of the door of the room, E4. It was the home economics room. In the middle of class, she stood me up and she said, "You're not like the other O'Neills, are you?" And I'll tell you what, that stuff sticks with you guys. Like that cemented it right there. And then you start doing like the kid math, one little comment here, one little comparison there, and soon it becomes, I'm the dumb one. And that identity got woven into absolutely everything without me even realizing I was doing it. And so I did what a lot of people do, right? I became really, really good at performing. Not just performing in meetings, but like performing as a person. I was the funny one, the personality of the family, as people like to tell me. I was basically a walking coping mechanism, like in heels by the end of it. But I mean, I was raised in an Irish pub, as I said. If you want to learn how to entertain and mask your feelings at the same time, like start there. But Also, I think like when you make it to a certain level, when you're making really good money and you're managing people and you're showing up in big rooms, you start to feel like you have lost your right to feel anything bad. You're told in big and small ways to shut up and be grateful, to smile and nod when well-intentioned people say, "Stop it, you're not stupid. You wouldn't be here if you didn't deserve it. Like, come on, look at your title." And that can feel so invalidating, can't it? You know, what you want to say is like, what I wanted to say was, I know I'm here. I just don't know how I got here, or I don't know what I'm bloody doing, or I'm winging it every day, or I'm miserable. But you don't say it. Because if you admit that out loud, you feel ungrateful. And then you have to answer the next question, which is, well, what do you want to do instead? You know, with the head tilt. And if you don't know the answer to that, which obviously most of us don't, it just feels easier to just stay put, keep faking it, say nada. So picture that fun loop for about 15 years. That was it. That was it for me. Yeah, Susie, it's true. It's also not okay to say you aren't happy at work because how dare you? You know, I'd love to have that money. You have it so easy, like all the bloody stuff. And so you like, yeah, you stay and you fake it and eventually the line between performing and existing gets so blurry that you forget who you were before all the pretending even happened. Like that was it for me. And then the layoff came. Oh boy, did they come. You know, the one I had secretly hoped for, but didn't have the guts to choose. It was the thing that freed me and absolutely wrecked me. And I don't know, has anybody here been laid off before? Like, if you feel like sharing it, do. If you don't, that's fine. But tell you what, guys, that does an absolute number on your ego. Like, it really does. It does a number on you. Yeah, a few of you have been. So you get it. Like, ouch. Because when you strip away the job, the paycheck, the title, like, what's less? What's left, you know? Yeah, it stings, Colin, absolutely. What's left? For me, not very much, you know, at first. It was just like the remains of a very tired mom staring at a fancy house that she wasn't sure she could afford anymore and was convinced that dumb Deb had finally been proven right, you know? So, no, I am not here to tell you, go quit your job. I am here to tell you, though, to start really looking at things. I want you to look at the stories you're telling yourself. Look at the identity that you've built. Look at the parts of you that you're exhausted from pretending. Because what I wish I had done years before the layoff was to sit still long enough to ask myself, what do I actually want? Who am I outside of this job? What would I do if I didn't believe I was dumb Deb? And no, I don't mean, you know, just change your mindset overnight nonsense. No, like if one more person told me to just be confident, I might have actually throat punched them. Like it's not as easy as that, clearly. But I do believe in turning down the volume a little bit, like in untangling the beliefs that have kind of quietly shaped your entire career, probably without you even realizing it, which is the wildest part of the whole thing. So here's the part where I'll be really honest. Even now, to this day, some of this mindset stuff really makes me like go, for fuck's sake. Like, it's not that it's wrong, it's just the way people say it, you know? You know, the ones like, it's like, just change your thoughts, guys, and you'll change your life. And it's like, cool, Susan, can I do that before or after I cry in the car park of Trader Joe's, you know? It's not that the advice is bad. It's just the packaging that makes you want to, you know, light something on fire sometimes. Yeah, it's bad. All right, okay, I was trying to be nice. It's bad. Oh, my little light has gone off. But for me, I think it like diminished. I think I diminished all of that because I didn't want to face it. Like I didn't want to look at it. Like I didn't like the whole, oh my God, namaste stuff, but I also just didn't want to look at it. I definitely didn't want to be vulnerable, partly because I'm Irish and we don't do feelings. We do tea and sarcasm and telling people we're grand while we're quietly, you know, falling apart at the seams. But also, like, the other side of that was if I really looked at it, like if I really peeled back the lid of what I was actually feeling and went there, I was scared that it would all just unravel, that I wouldn't be able to function, that I wouldn't know how to put myself back together. And if I didn't have the answers to the next 10 steps, I figured I shouldn't start. And, but then what question would just haunt me. So just leave it alone, leave the thread, don't pull on it, smile, be grateful, carry on, tell yourself it's not that bad, blah, blah, blah. And it is. But what I wish I had known was that, and really what I want you to hear is that it doesn't have to feel this heavy. It doesn't have to be all or nothing. It doesn't have to be perfect for it to be better. And while yes, change is really hard, so is staying exactly where you are. Take a breath for a second there, guys. Is there any questions before I move on? No. Like I said, I'll try and keep an eye on the chat. But anyway, so the problem for me wasn't like just the job. It wasn't that I was in the wrong role. I was in the wrong arena, like entirely. I was using skills I didn't care about to chase results I didn't fucking want. So I'm inside your brain, Joe. Yeah. Um, some of us might be in the same boat as me, like what I just said. Like I was just in the wrong fucking job. But other people here, you might actually be in the right job, but you just still feel like shit. Like you're in the right job, but you're like, why do I feel like shit? You might have this voice in your head that's telling you every day you're not good enough. Your boss doesn't rate you, the guy next to you is smarter, or the new job will magically fix everything and it'll make it easier, and that you're just not quite cutting it. Like insert annoying thought here. And it's exhausting. Like it is really exhausting. And because that voice is just always on, we don't even question it. It is like background noise, like a shitty roommate in your brain who never shuts the fuck up, but you've just stopped noticing. And what I learned the long way was the common denominator here is you guys, like you, yourself, me. And that's not to blame you, it is to free you. So, yeah, sometimes it is difficult to discern, Robert, isn't it? Even if it is in the right job, it's so messy. It takes a minute. Speaking of taking a minute, you might have noticed that I am a fast talker and a faster thinker. So if my mouth is going 100 miles an hour, just imagine what's happening up here. It is like full chaos, like full blown mental NASCAR, just zoom around my brain. Um, so because of that, like I never stopped to examine like any of it. I just assumed that if I'm thinking it, it must be true. So I built this whole identity around these thoughts that I never challenged. I wish I had slowed down and started looking at them before the layoff, while I still had a steady paycheck and a sense of stability. Because once those things are gone, that's pressure, my friends. That's a whole new level of panic. Those of you who's been laid off, you feel that pressure. You don't have time to think like, "Oh, what does my heart really want?" You're like, no, I've got fucking bills to pay. You know, that you don't have time to sit in it. So if you're still in the job now and things feel heavy or confusing or foggy, good. You've got just enough footing to unpack the giant bag of crap you've been carrying around without everything falling apart. You do not have to blow it all up to do this kind of work, but you do have to pause long enough to say, like, what am I actually carrying around that's not even mine? And I know the fantasy of quitting and, moving to Bali and becoming a yoga instructor sounds great and can be very appealing when you're looking for a quick answer. But as I learned, your problems follow you and they pack light, guys. They will be on that flight with you, ordering a gin and tonic and hugging the middle armrest like those annoying people do. You can't outrun your thoughts. You can't out-earn your feelings. Believe me, I tried. If it worked, I wouldn't be here right now. I moved companies. I took the shiny new job. I worked with people I adored for about 3 months. Yeah, it felt like magic. I was like, I did it. Until, of course, it didn't, because the uncomfortable stuff that I was trying to dodge, yeah, doesn't like being ignored very much. It always circles back and is like, hey girl, miss me? That was it. So that's what I want to offer today. I want to offer like a different way, a slower, quieter, much more annoying, but real way. It's not glamorous, it's not flashy, but it works. And it lasts if you work at it. So if you're anything like me, there's maybe a voice in your head right now going, oh, Jesus Christ, this is what she's saying. Sit with your thoughts. That's it. Yes, guys, that is it, okay? That is the work. And yes, it sounds simple in theory and absolutely insufferable in practice, both of which are true. Especially when someone is holding the mirror and pointing out the patterns you've spent your entire professional life avoiding. But I do believe this to my core. Most of us already know the answer, consciously or subconsciously. We have just become exceptionally skilled at avoiding it. For me, the problem, as I said, wasn't just the job. It wasn't just the company. It wasn't the role or the boss or the broken org chart. I mean, the fucking org chart's always changing. But the real problem, like the real root, was how I was thinking, how I was talking to myself, unaware, really, that I was doing it. And like the completely smudged, foggy lens I was seeing everything through. I'm actually really big on metaphors. Like, so here's one, work with me here. It's kind of like, when your camera lens is absolutely filthy and you don't even realize it and you're squinting, looking at blurry pictures and you're trying to figure out what's wrong. One of your friends looks over your shoulder and is like, clean your fucking lens. Like, you just need to give that thing a wipe. And then once you do, you're like, oh, look at that. That's what the picture's supposed to look like. Oh, it looks so much better. It kind of reminds me of people. I often look at these videos on YouTube of people who are colorblind and they put on those special glasses and they see color for the first time and they're crying and they're like, this is what you guys see. This is how the world can look in another lens. It's a bit like that. Not quite as dramatic, but kind of. Yeah. So that's what happened to me when I finally stopped focusing on how I wanted everybody else to perceive me and started paying attention to the way I saw me. It was kind of like cleaning the lens for the first time in 30 something years. And holy shit, no wonder I was exhausted. I mean, I had been trying to curate everyone else's version of me rather, making sure that their lens was crystal clear while walking through life with a fingerprint smeared, like makeup smudged lens of my own. And that's what we're trying to do here today. Like, I want to just try and help you wipe down your own lens. It's not perfect, it's not like sparkly, it's just clear enough to see what's actually in front of you. So, okay, let's pause here for a second because I want you to think about this in a really simple human way. If I asked 5 or 10 people at your work to describe you, what would you hope they'd say? If you want to pop in the chat, feel free. But if you're anything like me, it's probably something like, I hope they don't think any of that stuff I'm secretly worried about that they've noticed, and it's probably something more like, I hope they like me, I hope they think I'm smart and capable and not a complete disaster, and oh my God, please think I'm a good boss, please think I'm nice, all that kind of stuff. And as long as that version of you stays intact, there's this quiet little exhale, right? Okay, cool, safe for one more day. But the thing is, like, you're not actually safe. You're just exhausted from performing all the time. Yeah, Joe, I want to be funny too, obviously. Yeah, and like you want to be funny. You want them to say that you're kind. Like these are all the things. Impactful. Yeah, all these things, right? These are things we hope. So it's just you're just exhausted, right? You're exhausted from performing to be this way so they see you that way. And every time you choose keep the perception alive over say what I really think or feel or need, your own lens gets a little bit murkier. That's how it was for me anyway. It wasn't like something majorly dramatic. It was just like a slow, quiet erosion. And eventually, I had to sit down with my own brain and be like, all right, girl, what is this? Like, why are we like this? And I'm not going to lie, that process it was awful. Like, I hated it. I hated it because my own feelings, like, they are dramatic little bastards. Like, they don't knock. They just kick the door in and they start throwing out old memory files, shouting things like, you're a fucking idiot. You'll never figure it out. Like, hope you're like pretending forever. And like I used to just sweep my feelings under the rug, nice and neat under the rug. But eventually, like that rug had a very large Debbie-sized shaped lump under it. And I was like tripping over it every bloody day. But I want to be really clear as well, though. This is not about like flip a light switch and becoming a new person overnight. Like, sorry to break it to you, that's not possible. And don't believe anybody who says it is. Your brain is literally wired to avoid emotional pain. It is wired to avoid failure, rejection, embarrassment. It sees all of that as danger, and its one job is to keep you safe. So, of course, you've built up this way of thinking. Of course, you're constantly scanning for signs that you're slipping or falling or being found out because that mindset that you have today is keeping you psychologically safe. Well, it was, but now it's keeping you, it's not so much keeping you safe, it's keeping you stuck. And once you understand how it works, you can start observing it instead of being dragged around by it by the collar, you know? And that's the whole shift. So we're not trying to kill the voice in your head. You just need to stop assuming every single thought you have is the truth. It's kind of like driving a car for the first time. Remember, you were like 16, 17, whatever age you were at the time, and you're gripping the wheel for dear life and you're overcorrecting and you're hyper aware of everything. And if you grew up in Ireland like me, we didn't have automatic, it was stick, and you'd be stalling, and oh my God, you'd be on a hill and the car would stall. Oh, Jesus, there'd be a line of people behind you. It was so hard. But eventually, you still know how to drive. You're just not panicking the whole time. It's smoother. It's easier, you know? So that's kind of where we're heading. Like it's not some woo-woo fantasy where you're never going to feel anxious again. It's just a place where the anxious thoughts don't drive the car anymore, where you learn to put them in the passenger seat and go, I see what you're doing here. I see you're trying to drive today, but not today, Satan. You know, that's the work. And it's not fast, but like as someone who did it, it is so freeing. Like it is so, so freeing. So here's something I think that we don't talk about enough when it comes to this kind of stuff. Like there is a cost to everything. There is a cost to the life you want. And there is a cost to staying in the one that's quietly draining you. And we always talk about how hard change is. And yeah, it's true. It is really hard. But what we conveniently forget is that it's not changing also costs you. And that cost is high. We tell ourselves the price of change is too high, but we rarely ask, like, what is it costing us to stay exactly where we are? For me, that price was high, staying the way I was. I was angry all the time. I was snappy. I was tired. I was quite literally 50 pounds heavier from stress and emotional eating. I lived with a permanent pain in my chest, like right here, always waiting to be found out. Now, on the other side, there's still a cost, right? It's just a different one. The cost for me today is vulnerability. It is putting my shit on the internet and hoping strangers get it. It is pushing myself to create things like this, like create this masterclass when every part of me wants to crawl back under a weighted blanket and, watch reruns of Fleabag instead. It is the fear that one of you will think I'm stupid. So yeah, there is always a cost. But when we refuse to even examine the lens that we're looking through, when we won't even consider that it might be smudged, we are making a decision. We are deciding to stay in pain. Not because you want to, but because it feels safer than change. And listen, there's no shame in that, but it is a choice. Thanks, Colin. You're smart too. Flattery will get you everywhere with me. Thank you, Anya. Um, Now, here's the thing though about growth that I wish someone had told me sooner, so I am telling you. You can't 1, 2 skip a few and hop over discomfort. Like you just can't. There is no app for this. There is no quick win. Like I tried. I remember saying to my own coach, can you just tell me what to do and I'll do it? Like, just tell me what to do. I am paying you. Tell me what to do. I did not want a transformation. I wanted a transaction. I wanted results without any risk. I wanted change without chaos. And it's just not how it works. Like, you cannot outrun discomfort. You have to go through it. And yeah, that's really annoying. Like, period. It is really annoying. So then the question becomes, but how do you actually change? Like, step one is letting go of the fantasy that someone's going to show up with a glittery key and unlock it all for you. And it's like, here you go, guys, change. Here you go. Step two is, one that I had to learn was to stop scoffing at the stuff that feels too obvious. Sometimes it's obvious because it actually works. We've all had that friend who's stuck in the same problem. The solution is just so obvious to you, but they can't see it, right? And it's the same thing here. You are too close to your own mess. You're drowning in your own stories. So the answer doesn't feel obvious to you. It feels like terrifying. And that's where radical honesty comes in. I'm talking about like the quiet, brutal honesty with yourself. So if I asked you to describe the voice in your head, the one that like narrates your day, like what are they like? What would you say if anybody wants to drop anything in? Mine's a spiteful little cow. Like she's truly awful. I named her once to just try and separate her from me because she's not me. She's just a feeling that grew some deep roots. And when I finally stopped trying to like fight her to the death and started listening and understanding where that feeling originated, I learned to turn the volume down. Yeah, pushy with a dark sense of humor. Me too. They might be cousins. Um, so I want you to ask yourself, like, what does my own voice sound like? Maybe you've never even thought of that before. What's the loop that plays on repeat in my head? What scares the absolute shit out of you? And if you could quieten that voice, if you could turn it down even a little bit, like, how would that change things for you? Would you show up differently at work? Would you stop holding your breath in meetings? Would you stop assuming everybody secretly is judging you? Or maybe, God forbid, you would trust yourself? There are people out there, guys, I've met them. I'm married to one of them who aren't constantly battling their own nervous system. I mean, it's kind of wild to me, but they just go to work, they do their job, they leave work, and then they just relax. Like, I know, I was shocked too. I'm like, what's that like? But that's what I'm aiming for here. I'm not aiming for perfection, not to be fearless, just to give you a little bit more room to breathe, a little more peace in your head, a little less of the inner dialogue, motor mouth, constantly make you feel like shit. Okay, so what time are we on? All right. Jesus, time flies. For me anyway. We'll see how you guys felt. But I want to kind of bring this home, all right? There are 4 things that helped me start digging out from under this mental chaos. None of them are revolutionary, guys, but they are very, very real. So, number 1, feel the feelings. Like, yes, the ones you've been working really, really hard to avoid. You have got to let them through the door. Not so they can take over, but so you can actually hear what they're saying. Like, you're not an anxious person. You're someone who feels anxious sometimes. There's a big difference there. Your feelings are valid, but they're not always true. They are just signals. They are old wiring, old programming, saying things like, everybody thinks I'm an idiot. Everybody thinks I'm dumb. I'm not cut out for this. I have no idea what I'm doing. Blah, 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 blah. You don't need to scream, I'm fine, force positivity over them, hoping that will convince yourself. But you do need to listen because then and only then can you actually change them by asking yourself, like, where did I learn that about myself? That was like for me, where did I learn that I was stupid? It was fact in my brain, but like, where did I learn that? And I want you to start thinking, what's your thing? Where did you learn it? Okay, number 2, take responsibility for what you're believing. And I don't mean blame yourself. This isn't picking up a rod to beat yourself over the back with it. I mean, ask yourself, like, wait, do I even want to believe this anymore? Do I want to believe this? Is this helping me or hindering me? Because yes, some of those beliefs were handed to you years ago, maybe from a boss, a teacher, a parent, a childhood friend, or some random coworker who said one thing in a meeting that you have been looping on in your head ever since. But it's your voice that's replaying it now. So it is your responsibility to ask, do I want to keep carrying this shit around? The pain of staying the same has got to outweigh the pain of change if this is to really work for you. Number 3, this is a really big one. You have to separate fact from feeling. Your brain, guys, it's a little chatterbox and it is really convincing. And it says in all manner of things. It sounds like I totally botched that presentation. My boss thinks I'm an idiot. They're so disappointed in me. Everybody else gets it except me. But the $1,000,000 question is that a fact or a feeling? Because it almost always feels like a fact, like always. It feels true. But when you actually slow down, breathe, and look for the evidence, 9 times out of 10, it is just a feeling. It's loud and persistent, yeah, but it is not rooted in reality. And this is one of the best habits that I've built, and it took a long time to do it, but it is so helpful. It is interrupting myself in the moment and asking, do I have actual data for what I'm telling myself, or am I just spinning out again? Do I have any evidence to back up what I'm saying? And then I'll give myself some evidence. And then I'm like, is that fact or is that feeling? Did that person actually say that, or am I worried they think it? Do I feel they think it? And try on some neutral beliefs for size, like something different, like not fake positivity, just a different lens. Like, I'm not stupid. I might just be in the wrong job. Or maybe I don't know everything, and neither does everybody else. It feels different to, you fucking idiot, you don't know anything, you're stupid. It's more of a neutral landscape. And then finally, number 4, take action. Not to prove anything, but it's to gather evidence, because this part really is non-negotiable. Like, you can do all the deep self-reflecting work in the world, but nothing actually shifts until you move. So say the thing in the meeting, follow up on the idea you had, ask the question, try a new approach, whatever it is for you. And yeah, you'll probably want to throw up, but that is part of it. As a good friend on this call always says, we show up and we throw up. Like, that's okay. That's the move. Like, because action is what gives you the actual data. And data is the only thing that you can and should use to challenge the stories in your head. Otherwise, the old thoughts, they just stay in charge. They keep calling the shots. So this isn't about feeling fearless. This is about being brave while your stomach is doing somersaults. It's not trying to be perfect. You are just collecting proof. You're doing it so that the next time your voice is like, you're going to mess this up, you've got a track record to argue with it. Not just theories, like receipts. That's how the shift starts. All right, what time are we on? Okay, 15 minutes. Okay, so listen, I want to kind of pause here for a second, and I want to say this really clearly. What we've been talking about today, it's not just theory to me. It's not just stuff I stitched together from books and podcasts and shiny Instagram quotes. It is deeply personal. It is lived, it is cried through, it is earned. Because this work like changed my life. And I don't say that lightly as an Irish woman culturally built to roll my eyes at this stuff. Like, really, I don't. It is uncomfortable. It is exposing. It is vulnerable. And it's worth it. So, yes, this is the part where I offer the same help I got a few years ago to you. And it is not a sales pitch, it is an invitation. And here is the part that I haven't said yet, but it is very important to me. I am very selective about who I take on, not because I'm fancy, not because I think I'm great, not because I'm trying to be exclusive, but because I know what it takes for this to actually work. You don't have to feel confident, you don't have to have it all figured out, you don't even have to feel brave, but you do have to be done. Like, done pretending, done overthinking, done saying maybe next quarter, like just so sick of your own shit. You're like, I actually can't listen to myself anymore. You have to be in enough pain that doing nothing hurts more than doing something, even if that something scares the hell out of you. And yes, being ready to do something can still mean you want to absolutely projectile vomit all over me. That's totally normal. But half-hearted effort gets half-hearted results. And I only want to work with people who are actually ready to commit to themselves. So if I manage to do this right, I'm going to share my one and only slide, guys, because I didn't want to do a slideshow. I wanted to do a chat about what I've built to help. So give me a second while I somehow navigate sharing this screen. Does anybody have any questions, by the way, while I play around with this? Anything has some of it hit, has some of it not? Got a few nods, got a few nods. Okay, great. All right. Let's see. Can you guys see my screen? Yeah? Thumbs up, anybody?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Okay, awesome. All right. So this is what I've built for you guys. It is a 12-week program, and this is what it includes. So there is one-to-one coaching every week. This is where we follow the breadcrumbs all the ways back to the source, the poisoned well. Most people have no clue why they think the way they do. They just know they feel anxious, not good enough, or like their one bad Zoom call from, getting found out. So in these sessions, we slow it all down. We look under the hood and we say the things that you've never actually said out loud. We dig into what's actually driving the overthinking and the people pleasing and the self-doubt and all the other things that are relevant to you. We start to notice the patterns, not to judge them, but just to understand them. Because when you can see where it all comes from, you can stop letting it sneak in the back door and completely run your life on autopilot. And this isn't about rehashing your childhood or fixing all your flaws. It is about building a new way to respond when those old thoughts creep in. So we take all that noise and we turn it into something you can actually work with. And from there, we map out tiny, like microdosed, doable steps, like not ideal life steps, like real steps, for real days and the kids are homesick and, you're stressed out, like real life. And yeah, you'll want to throw up sometimes. You'll want to punch me in the face. And that's how you know it's working. That's fine. We show up anyway, because that's where the shift starts. There is also a structured weekly workbook, and it's not a vague list of, reflection questions that, leave you wondering what the hell to write. This is a clear weekly guide that helps you untangle the knots that have been knotted up in your brain for years. And you might be finally able to see what's been fueling the spirals and the negative talk. And once it's on the page, like you can really work with it. Every week builds on the last, with small digestible prompts that make it feel doable. Even on the days when your brain is tired and your patience is shot, it's doable. And yes, each week, ends with one small step of action, because insight without any movement or without any action just like sits there collecting dust, like it's pointless. There are weekly group sessions. This is the part I think most people think they'll hate until they're in it. I did. I used to be like, oh my God, no, thank you. The group is small and it's intimate and it's real, and there's no breakout rooms, there's no like icebreakers. It's just honest conversation with people who get it, people like you and me who get it. And there is so much power in hearing someone say what you've been thinking for years. There's relief in realizing you're not the only one. And, between calls, you'll have access to private group chat where you can share a win or vent about a bad day or ask questions or get a pick me up on a Monday afternoon when everything feels a bit shit, like whatever it is that you need, it's there. You also have full access to me in between our calls because, life doesn't run on a Zoom calendar. If something midweek hits, you can message me. If your brain starts doing like cartwheels after a team meeting, I'm there, because support means support, especially in between sessions. So the full 12-week experience is typically $6,500, but for anybody on this class today, I'm offering it for $4,500. Payment plans are available because I know this is a big commitment and I want it to feel empowering, not panic inducing. The only catch or the only ask I have is that you have to book a call with me before midnight tonight. And I know it's very Cinderella of me, but that doesn't mean you have to talk to me today. It just means you have to book your call to chat. And the reason I set that deadline is because I know that the tricks our brains pull. Like you can't bullshit a bullshitter, guys. I've done it. You'll start to tell yourself, maybe now isn't the right time, or maybe I can figure it out on my own, or it's not that bad. It's fine. It's fine. Everything's fine. And I say that with love because like I was the runaway bride of decision making. Like I would say I was ready. I'm like, yeah. And then I would sprint in the opposite direction, like my veil was on fire. So, yeah, this is just a window. It's a way to keep the momentum alive while you're still connected to like the part of you that knows that you want something different. So, yeah, that's it, guys. One slide, no pressure, but a real invitation if you want it. Oh my God, I ended early. 8 minutes. Wow. I'm going to take a breath for a second. So I don't know if anybody has any questions or anything, but thank you so much for hanging out with me. And I hope that it was beneficial and helpful. I'm just reading some of the chat here. Did I miss anything? Blanche. Trade dramatic. I love that also. Well, if anybody has a question, feel free to message here, or actually, do you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to, you're welcome, Colin. I'm going to put the link to my Calendly here so you guys can take it and schedule those calls. If you are like, I got it, I'm in, listen to your gut and just do it. Message me, LinkedIn. I am here to chat and talk to you guys. I hope this was impactful. I hope you got something out of it today, and I'll see you on the next one. Thank you so much, everybody. Have a good day. See you later.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.